Did Queen Anne design her own furniture? Did the Duke of Marlborough smoke Marlboros? Considering he failed to become king, why was Bonnie Prince Charlie so Bonnie? These and other questions will be answered right after this. Hi, I'm Professor Jerome Arkenberg, and I've been teaching a wide variety of history courses at colleges across this country for the past 30 years. In this video, I'm going to tell you about Stuarts and more Stuarts, Queen Anne and her furniture, why the English let a German rule them, why and how England and Scotland, but not Ireland, became Great Britain, and Great Britain's rise to be the world's first superpower. At the end, I'll have the wrap-up quote on this video. But first, make sure to click like, share, especially subscribe, and that little bell thingy, so I can continue to bring you more great videos just like this one. The English Revolution. The English Republic from 1691. Following the Glorious Revolution of 1688, England became a constitutional state, with royal power firmly limited by Parliament, especially the House of Commons, and the latter, dominated by the gentry and mercantile classes, proceeded to adopt policies beneficial to itself, which made England the world's first superpower. A good deal of this rise was directly attributable to the issuance of government bonds through the Bank of England, which was chartered in 1694. This brought in a revenue stream large enough to build and maintain a large navy, fight wars around the globe, and maintain its worldwide empire. Upon the death of William III, who died without issue in 1702, Queen Mary had died in 1694, William's sister-in-law, who was James II's daughter, Anne, succeeded. Her husband, George of Denmark, was not accorded the title of king, but was merely prince consort. And Lady Sarah Churchill was her very influential friend and advisor. In 1707, England and Scotland, besides centuries of mutual antipathy, were united as Great Britain, a move advantageous to both. The English prevented Scottish independence, while the Scots gained economic access to England's colonies, while keeping their own legal and financial system, the Church of Scotland, and representation in a new London-based British Parliament. During Anne's reign, the new Great Britain, her armies led by the Duke of Marlborough, defeated France in the War of the Spanish Succession, giving it Gibraltar and all of Canada except Quebec. In Anne's reign, the Whigs and Tories evolved into modern political parties, with dining and drinking clubs, coffee and chocolate houses, party literature and propaganda, electioneering and newspapers, giving Britain a modern, democratic, stable, two-party system. Which isn't to say that most people were allowed to vote, not even most men were allowed to vote, but nonetheless, this is the foundation and the beginnings. since none of Anne's 17 children, you got it, she had 17 children, and none of them survived her. Her cousin Georg, the Elector of Hanover in Germany, succeeded, though he could not speak a word of English, leading to a Scottish rebellion in favor of James II's son, James, who would have been James III, called the Old Pretender, who was then, unfortunately for him, defeated at the Battle of Glenshiel, which is what you see here. There's the Old Pretender. Under King George I, Britain prospered as a cabinet system of government emerged, headed by the king's prime minister. Due mostly to George's unfamiliarity with England, his habit for living in Hanover, and the fate of his predecessors, King Charles I and King James II. Upon George I's death, George II, his son, who also could not speak English, succeeded. And like his father, he let his ministers run the government, keeping his father's policies, while a series of victorious wars against France and Spain made Britain banker to the world, so much money coming in that they were able to hire other countries' armies to fight its wars on the European continent. However, the 45, an uprising of the Highlanders of Scotland, again concentrated up here, in favor of James II's grandson, called the Young Pretender, or popularly known as Bonnie Prince Charlie, brought a Scottish army as far south as Derby in 1745, which is actually off this map here, and caused George II to flee England. However, the Scots failed to take London and suffered a decisive defeat at the Battle of Culloden in 1746. Really kind of a massacre, leading to severe repression in the Highlands and mass emigration to the Americas, mostly British North America. George III succeeded his grandfather shortly before the end of the 7 Years' War, which drove the French out of India and Canada, making Britain the world's first superpower. But heavy-handed rule in North America brought on one crisis after another, eventually leading to the American Revolution, which is another story. Here is the wrap-up quote. "There is another thing that renders England rich, viz., the liberty of conscience, granted and allowed to every nation, whereby great numbers of foreigners are invited to come and trade here sooner than in Spain and other countries, where liberty of conscience is not allowed. No European country can boast of having such a good form of government, the property of chattels and goods being not precarious as in other countries, so that when a man by his industry gets an estate, his children, if he please, and not his lord, much less the government, shall inherit it." Don Manuel Gonzalez in 1730. Let me know what you think of this quote in the comment section below. Also, what you liked about this video, and what other historical topics or subjects you'd like to see in future videos. Be sure to click like, share, and especially subscribe, as it will help me bring you more great videos, and click on that little bell thingy so you know when the next History Waits for No One video is posted. If you want to know more, there are recommended studies on this topic in the description below, along with other ways to connect with me. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the past.